Up next on End of the Day Beer Review, we're going to be looking at a special back from the cellar. This is Bourbon County brand Vanilla Stout from the 2018 variant line. And it is coming in at 14.9% ABV. Check it out. Hi everybody, it's Rich and welcome to End of the Day Beer Review. If you're new here, welcome to the channel. Today I'm going back into my cellar and I have pulled out the 2018 variant from Bourbon County. This is Bourbon County brand Vanilla Stout. It's coming in at 14.9% ABV, and it says it is brewed, barrel-aged, and bottled by Goose Island. And I have to be honest, the shiny label on the white and the vanilla color is very difficult to read, so we'll try to get this. It is supposed to be floral and fruity, Madagascar vanilla character with notes of toffee, oak, and chocolate. Now, I had a lot of these, and I haven't had one in about, I'd say probably 3 years. But when they came out, this was one of my all-time favorite. Actually, it was, and probably still is, my all-time favorite Bourbon County brand stout variant. Bourbon County brand stout variant that I have cellared. I think the cola is probably the second best I've ever had, and then followed that by the Sir Isaac's, the fig stout. But I always loved the 2018, so I thought it would be appropriate since we're leading up to Bourbon County season, and they are putting out a vanilla variant again, although vanilla in rye barrel, so I don't know how that's going to be. I figured let's go back and let's check these out. Now this was 2018, so 18 to 19, 19 to 20, 20 to 21, 21 to 22, 22 to 23, 23 to 24. So you're talking about 6 years in the bottle at this point. Now a lot of my Goose Islands had some, especially the barley wine for some reason, have had a really big sediment problem. I've examined this bottle with a flashlight just before I started shooting this, and I didn't see any significant sediment on the bottom of the barrel, on the bottom of the bottle. I am using my official Goose Island glass. Let's see how it pours. And as I remember it, a very, very dark, although just a hint of sort of a reddishness there. All right. Now, this is coming in at 14.9% ABV, so that's a pretty heavy, alcohol hit. I can tell you right now, the bar has just exploded into the aroma of vanilla, which I think is awesome, because I was sort of worried that the vanilla would have faded. But the fact that I can smell it without really even bringing the bottle, the bottle and the glass up to my nose, that's really a good sign. This is one of the best noses on Bourbon County that I've come across. You get a really nice chocolate aroma. You get that wood from the oak in the bourbon barrels. But on the back end of this, there's this sort of sweet uptick, and there's where all the vanilla lives. So you have this nose that's going back and forth between sort of the chocolate and the vanilla, and the sweetness of the chocolate and the vanilla, plus the sweetness of the bourbon. It's just a beautiful, beautiful nose on this particular beer. It's one of those beers that you could just contemplate for a while, if you will. That is beautiful as far as the nose goes. Now, it is 14.9%, so there is a good amount of legs. It is clinging to the side of that glass. Now, the carbonation is still there, but like most of the stouts that we look at from Bourbon County, there's not an overwhelming amount of carbonation. I feel like the carbonation in a lot of cases is sort of like the flavor afterthought. It's there and it helps push the flavor along, but it's not aggressive. All right, I can't wait to actually drink this one. So let's see how it tastes. Oh my God, that is magnificent. Oh my God, that's so good. I need another taste and I'll start describing. I'm sorry. This is, in my estimation, one of the finest beers that I've ever encountered, quite frankly. It has a wonderful mouthfeel. It lingers with the flavors that are there, and the flavors just continue to deliver. Front end of the tongue, you're getting sort of that oak and that char from the bourbon. As it goes back, there's chocolate, and finally, as you're about to swallow and you get that sort of like burst of breath through your nose, what comes through is all of that vanilla. And as I continue to talk, that vanilla just continues to spring to life over and over again in my mouth. It is a beautiful beer. Now, up top in your mouth, there is no alcohol. This drink's incredibly smooth. But there is a really nice warming in the stomach at this point. Now, I normally rate a stout, especially a sweeter stout, by how well the alcohol is sort of hidden in that beer. To me, this has always been sort of like a holiday type of beer, a beer that you want to enjoy, with friends and family. Although I have to be honest, I'm being completely selfish and I'm drinking this whole one myself. I do have another one put away for a special occasion at some point. I don't know what that's going to be. But this is really nice. But again, I think holiday season. I guess because when I picked it up, it was Black Friday a few years ago, and it just turned out to be such a good beer. Oh, that is just beautiful. The other thing about these beers is that, particularly these beers that I got in 2018, and then I have some from 17 and some from 16. These beers have also traveled around with me, like when I've moved. So it's really interesting to be able to have a beer from a completely different portion of your life and then sort of be able to reminisce about that. I know how ridiculously cheesy that sounds, but one of the nice things I've always found about cellaring is that idea of thinking back to when you put it in and how much has changed. All of that, sort of like sentimentality aside, I have to tell you, this just is a beautiful, well-rounded beer. You have some sweetness, you have all of this flavor just continuing to sort of repeat in your mouth, a nice warm glow in the stomach from this particular beer. To me, this is sort of the pinnacle of what I want from Goose Island every time. So this year we have the Vanilla Stout coming out, but it's aged in rye barrels. And I've actually been sampling a little more of the rye and particularly rye high builds with bourbons. And it's not my favorite flavor profile, but I am going to pick up a couple of bottles of the vanilla variant this year because I just have to know, like, have they recreated something as good as this? And if not as good as this, have they done with the vanilla what they did last time, which was make such a beautifully complex, flavorful beer that just delivered on everything that was on that label. In fact, going back to the label, it actually says, Madagascar vanilla. The vanilla is all over there. There's that dark fruit that's in it as well on the very front end. Notes of toffee. See, that I'm not getting, but the oak and the chocolate I'm definitely getting with the vanilla. Now, maybe vanilla is sort of masking that sort of toffee flavor for me, but to me, this is just like a beautiful crafted vanilla beer. Now, this has also been in this bottle for about 6 years. And, there's always the question, like, does this oxidize? Have you lost the flavor? I have to say, for a beer that's this old, it has held up beautifully. Now, it has also been stored right. It has been cared for correctly, but I feel as though it has lost really nothing in the transition of time from when it came out in 2018 to today, which is, November of 2025. Now, the other thing that I was sort of excited about is I wanted to do a special beer today because this is the 250th episode of this channel, which, on beer tuber standards, that's a very, very low number. But when I do get to those 50 marks, I try to bring some special beer out. And since we are coming into Bourbon County season, there's going to be another Bourbon County review probably this week. Actually, I'll look back into the vault, see what's there, and we'll drink a little of that together, talk about it, and see how it goes. Anyway, folks, I hope you have enjoyed the video. If you have, hit that like button. I would love if you could subscribe. If you've had this beer, I'd love to hear your comments about it. I would have to say that if I saw this out in the wild at the $25 price that it was offered, would I take the shot? I would. I would purchase it like that. Now, is there a chance that it has not been stored right or cellared right, or it's been sitting in the back of some warehouse and has hit like 95 degrees? Of course. But it's such a good beer when it comes out correctly that I feel like it would actually be worth the risk to try and get another one. So if you do see this out in the wild, I would pick this up immediately. Now be careful, because this label looks remarkably like last year's Banana Foster variant, which I didn't think was so great. I thought the banana was a little too artificial, and it just really didn't do it for me as far as the variants go. Anyway, folks, I will see you next time on End of the Day Beer Review. Thanks so much for joining me. Again, comments, likes, all of that, really, really appreciate it, and I will see you next time on End of the Day Beer Review. Cheers. Cheers. Ooh, excuse me.